The silence outside is a lie, no traffic. No sirens, just the distant crack of small arms fire and the heavy stillness of a neighborhood holding its breath. Then your baby wakes up. The wail cuts through the dark like a flare, a homing beacon broadcasting your exact location to every desperate ear within a quarter mile. You shush, you rock, you bounce, and the crying gets louder. The parenting books told you to attend the cry. They never told you that in a collapsed world, that cry is an acoustic weapon against your own survival. Most people will freeze and pray. You will manage the sound with physics, not panic. Subscribe so you never miss this. Stay for number 6. The one that has nothing to do with the baby, but everything to do with the adult brain that is about to shatter under the pressure. 1. The pre-emptive feed, the satiated mute. A hungry baby cries. A gassy baby cries. A baby who is slightly too warm, slightly too cold, or slightly lonely cries. In a grid-down scenario, you do not have the luxury of feeding on demand and hoping silence follows. You will feed on a preemptive schedule, before dusk, before the ambient noise of the day fades and the soundscape becomes a megaphone for every whimper. You will fill that baby's stomach completely. Breastfeed or bottle feed until the baby is milk drunk, eyelids heavy, limbs limp. Burp thoroughly. A trapped bubble of air will wake them in 40 minutes screaming. Then swaddle tight, arms in. The swaddle mimics the pressure of the womb and suppresses the Moro reflex, the startle response that flings their arms wide and triggers a full-lunged wail. A swaddled, full-bellied baby in a dark space will sleep for 3 to 4 hours. That is your silent window. Most parents feed reactively, waiting for the hunger cry, and the hunger cry is the loudest, most piercing cry in the mammalian repertoire. You will feed proactively. The schedule is not for comfort. It is for acoustic security. 2. The sound dampening swaddle. The portable bunker. Fabric absorbs sound. High-frequency sound waves, like the piercing wail of a human infant, are particularly vulnerable to dense, fibrous barriers. A standard nursery blanket is not enough. You will build a layered acoustic baffle around the baby's body. First, the swaddle. Then, wrap the swaddled baby in a heavy wool blanket, the thickest you have. Place the wrapped bundle inside a structured baby carrier or a padded car seat. Drape a second heavy blanket over the carrier, creating a tent with an open air gap at the bottom for ventilation. This is not smothering, this is impedance mismatching. Every layer of fabric forces the sound wave to transition from air to fiber and back again, losing energy with each transition. Place this wrapped carrier inside a closet packed with clothes, a room with bookshelves, or a corner surrounded by soft furniture. The sound that escapes is muffled, lower in volume, and stripped of its directional piercing quality. Most people hold the baby in their arms near a window while scanning the tree line. You will bury the baby in a nest of textiles and buy yourself precious decibels of concealment. 3. The acoustic mask. White noise and ambient drones. Silence is the enemy. In a silent, dead grid world, a baby's cry is the only sound for a quarter mile. Every ear within range locks onto it instantly. The human auditory system is a threat detection machine, and a single point source sound in a silent environment triggers an urgent pinpointing response. You will destroy the silence first. Find an old phone with a dead SIM card but a charged battery. Load it with a white noise track, pink noise, or a loop of rain sounds. Place it directly next to the baby's head inside the carrier. A mechanical fan, battery-powered, placed in the corner. A rain stick hung from a hook. Any constant, rhythmic, broadband sound fills the acoustic space. The white noise doesn't make the baby stop crying. It masks the cry. An ear outside, scanning the dark, hears a blanket of static. The cry is buried inside it. The brain dismisses it as background noise. Most people try to shush the baby, which is a sound that travels just as far and sounds just as human. You will run a masking drone and let the baby cry itself out inside a privacy curtain of pure physics. 4. The safe haven buffer room. The baby's location in the house is not a matter of convenience. It is a matter of acoustic geometry. A crib against an exterior wall, near a window, is a broadcast tower. The sound travels through the glass, bounces off the neighboring houses, and radiates down the street. You will move the baby to the most interior room in the structure. A walk-in closet, a basement root cellar, a bathroom with no exterior walls. Then you will build a baffle stack around that room. Bookshelves filled with books against the walls. Mattresses leaned against the door. Heavy furniture, armoires, dressers, anything dense and soft. Each layer, absorbs and reflects sound. The baby's cry, already muffled by the swaddle and the carrier tent, now has to fight through a labyrinth of cellulose, foam, and wood before it reaches an exterior wall and escapes into the night. Most people set up the nursery in the room with the best natural light, which is the room with the most windows. You will bury the baby in the architectural core of the home and wrap that core in a cocoon of soft mass. The buffer room is not a nursery. It is a soundproof vault. 5. The operational plan. The go bag and the dead man switch. The baby cries. The cry pierces the masking noise, and the buffer room. A hostile outside hears it, pauses, and vectors toward the sound. You now have minutes, maybe seconds. You need an evacuation sequence that is drilled, not discussed. The baby goes into a dedicated carrier, the chest-mounted, 3-buckle kind that leaves your hands free. The carrier lives next to the baby, never in a closet, never in another room. You grab the baby, buckle them in, and move. But before that, you need a dead man switch, a pre-arranged signal, a specific hand gesture, a whispered code word, a squeeze on the shoulder that means hostiles have been alerted. We are going silent now. Every adult in the group knows the signal. When it's given, no one speaks. No one moves unless it's part of the evacuation flow. Most families have no silent communication protocol. They hear the baby cry. They start talking, shouting, arguing over what to do. The noise compounds. The hostiles pinpoint the location. You will drill the dead man switch. You will drill the grab and go. The baby cries. The signal is given. The carrier is buckled. The family vanishes into the escape route before the hostile has finished triangulating the source of the wail. 6. The psychological cool-off. The parental autopilot. The baby is screaming. Your heart is hammering. The cortisol is flooding your bloodstream. And your amygdala, the reptile brain, is screaming at you to do something, anything, right now. This is the moment most parents break. They unswaddle the baby. They pace. They shush loudly. They make noise themselves. They panic. A panicked parent transmits their panic directly into the baby through heart rate, breathing, and muscle tension. The baby feels the fear and screams harder. This is a feedback loop that kills. You will break the loop before it starts. The 4-count box breathing protocol. Inhale through the nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale through the mouth for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. You do this while holding the baby, while buckling the carrier, while moving through the dark. The breathing forces your parasympathetic nervous system to re-engage. Your heart rate drops. Your hands steady. The baby feels the calm and begins to mirror it. You will also have a rehearsed script. A low, steady, whispered phrase that you repeat over and over. You are safe. I am here. We are moving. The words are for you as much as the baby. They keep your prefrontal cortex online when the reptile brain wants to shut it down. Most people are never taught to manage their own panic. They manage the baby's. The baby is a mirror. Calm the face in the mirror first, and the reflection will follow. Here is the reality. The parenting books and the tactical manuals will never print side by side. A baby's cry is not a liability. It is an acoustic fact, a million-year-old survival mechanism that evolved to pierce the silence of a savannah night and summon a protector. In a collapsed world, the protector is still there, but the predators are listening too. You cannot stop a baby from crying any more than you can stop a pulse from beating. But you can manage the sound. You can pre-feed, swaddle, wrap, bury, mask, and drill, until the cry that leaves the house is a muffled shadow of itself, buried under white noise and baffled by layers of wool and bookshelves. And when that cry does breach the perimeter, you can move, silently, rehearsed, with a carrier on your chest and a breathing pattern that keeps your hands steady and your brain online. Most people will be paralyzed by the sound of their own child, caught between the instinct to soothe and the terror of discovery. You will have a plan. The pre-emptive feed buys silence before the dark. The swaddle and the buffer room steal decibels from the wail. The white noise paints an acoustic camouflage. The dead man's switch triggers a pre-drilled evacuation. And the box breathing keeps the adult brain from shattering under the weight of its own fear. A baby in a grid-down world is not a curse. It is a responsibility that can be met with physics, preparation, and a parent who trained their own nervous system before the first night fell. Now drop a comment and tell me this. Have you ever actually tested your bug-out plan with a screaming infant? Not a quiet, sleeping bundle. A recording, a real, full-volume, piercing cry. If you haven't, write drill this weekend. Then do it. Load a crying baby sound on your phone, turn it up loud, and run your evacuation in the dark. Because the first time you hear that sound in a real collapse, you will fall back on whatever you trained. Train the sound. And in the next video, we are moving from the infant to the toddler. How to keep a 2-year-old silent and still during a bug out when the footsteps are 10 feet away and they want to talk about the bunny they saw yesterday. I'll see you there.